Lori, and I am the rector, which is a fancy word for minister, here at St. John's Church in Johnstown. And we're going to be talking to you a little bit today about our NOAA and food pantry and food pharmacy programs to help you understand a little bit of the history and a lot about the future of what's going to be happening. And I was asked to think about a verse that reminds me of these programs and why we do them. So I chose a verse from Matthew chapter 25. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. And for me, almost the most compelling is this third part. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. So let's get downstairs and take a look at how our program looks today. Hi, you're actually in the basement of St. John's Church, which has housed the NOAA and food pantry programs for nearly 30 years. We're actually celebrating our 30th anniversary next year. But this is the place typically where we would serve our meals to our guests. This is where people would come kind of down these long, inaccessible to people who are disabled steps in order to sit here and to sort of check in for the food pantry, which is in the back of the church. And then of course there's the kitchen area, which sounds so exciting, except for the fact that it's more than 30 years old.
Father Bill saw his ministry as a way to live out the scriptures, to feed the hungry, to welcome the lonely, and to live from our abundance and not our scarcity. My dad was a humble guy and would never boast that the NOAA meal was his idea alone. I can tell you with every ounce of my being that the idea sprang from his deep and abiding prayer life where he shared his concerns of the world with God. I believe that when my dad saw this pattern of need over and over again, this unfulfilled need in our community, this need for hope, connection, and a simple sustaining meal, that he brought a small group of people together to pray and craft a way to service God and his people. The parable of the loaves and the fishes comes to mind as I think about the miracle that is the NOAA meal. From a little comes an abundance of food, help, laughter, service, and a glimpse of God's work in the world. The NOAA meal continues to thrive. The NOAA meal continues to nourish the souls of both who serve and who are served. The NOAA meal reminds us that through God, anything is possible. Dad, Bill, Father Small, however you knew this extraordinary man of God, he knew that a life patterned after Christ in service of others is a life well lived. Continue to feed God's children. Whatsoever you do unto least of your brothers, you do unto me.
So this is our NOAA kitchen, where meals are still being served from today. We are still serving our guests. We did not stop at any point during the pandemic serving meals, but we just allow our team to come in here to prepare the meals, and meals are done by takeout. But you can see that there's some wear and tear on the equipment because this kitchen is more than 30 years old, and we really need an upgrade, as well as to have what I would call kind of a safe and sanitizable place that shows people the respect that we have for the meals that we're making. So we find that to be essential for our volunteers as well. One of the things that we know about this wonderful old stove is that it's difficult to light, and it makes people like me feel very nervous when they have to do that. So we're making sure that we get things that are going to be more accessible for our volunteers to use in order to help the greatest number of people with the least amount of anxiety, which we think is also very important. So this was our food pantry. This was the only food pantry in Johnstown for more than 30 years. We were fortunate last year to begin to move into our temporary space at 1 Church Street, which is where all of our new facilities, including the NOAA meal, are going to be located. And this space obviously wasn't secure in lots of ways. There wasn't a lot of room, and there wasn't a lot of safety for our guests, particularly with some of the stairs that they had to walk up and down, both outside as well as the stairs into this facility here. What we're building now in our 1 Church Street facility is going to be fully accessible. It's going to be beautiful and bright and open. It's also going to include something called a food pharmacy, which is a brand new idea that helps people get healthy foods at the recommendation of their doctor. So the doctor will actually write a script. We're working in partnership with Nathan Latour Hospital for this. Although any doctor scripts from any doctor will work to come into the food pantry or the food pharmacy. The doctor will prescribe certain types of foods. You need more green leafy vegetables. You need more beta carotene, so maybe you need to eat more carrots. And somebody will be able to come in and get exactly those vegetables from our new facility, because we're going to have a whole bank of refrigerators and freezers to keep those perishable items, which we did not have here at all. And we're going to actually be able to teach them how to make that food taste good, because if you don't know how, for example, to cook a spaghetti squash, it may not taste like spaghetti, because it really doesn't. It's just called spaghetti squash. So there's lots of things that we're going to be able to do next door that we really have never been able to do in this space, which is why we have taken everything, as wonderful as it was to have these programs here, and moving them next door, accessible, dignified, healthy, nutritional. And we recognize that partnering with our community, because people don't always come down into church basements, you're going to want to come next door. You're going to want to meet your neighbor. You're going to want to volunteer, and you're going to want to help your community, because you're going to see things you've never seen before. They're going to both break your heart and build it back.